Well, hello, everybody, and welcome into the Williamson Herald High School Football Sports Extra, presented by Moody's Tire and Auto. I'm Joe Williams, the sports editor of the Williamson Herald, along with the executive editor of MoPattonSports.com, Maurice Patton, the man who knows all, sees all, tells 3 or 4 people early, and then tells everybody
and then tell everybody else.
That's
there you
right.
go. I like that.
Telegram, telephone, and
Telemo.
That's right. Right on time. Folks, it is hot this week. The heat has come back, and Maurice, seriously, the heat has come back, and it's potentially an issue, at least on practice days. We're here at Summit High School where the big game is going to be this week when Indy comes calling. And after what had been a couple of cool days, the heat really has come back.
You know, and it's a little bit of an issue on these aluminum bleachers too, Mr. Williams.
Yes.
I'm not quite sure whose idea this was.
I wore jeans, so
I'll give you a hint. They're not in the shot. I didn't see a whole lot of cramping the first few weeks of the season. It started to cool off a little bit. It's heated back up. If it's like this Friday night, particularly in a highly contested rivalry type ball game like you're going to see here at Summit, conditioning may be a little bit of an issue here at the midpoint of the season.
And we're going to open up with that ball game. Independence, the defending state champion in Class 5A, 19 straight wins, comes calling to their neighborhood rival. And boy, if there's anybody who wants to beat Independence, it's going to be this Summit squad. This is a team that has scored 115 points in the last 2 games. Now, I'll grant you the defenses they've faced, not what the Independence defense will present for them. But this could be that game that we've been looking for between these two forever.
You know, confidence shouldn't be an issue for the Spartans this weekend. Like you said, scored 71 points in a big region 5-5A win over Shelbyville a couple of weeks ago. Turned around and scored 44 against a 6A opponent in Lebanon, who anybody that follows football in Middle Tennessee knows that Lebanon has kind of been on down times the last few years. But still, they're a 6A program. This program is what, 6 years old?
Yeah.
And they're a 5A program, and they're still kind of getting their feet under them, but they're 3-1 all of a sudden.
Yes. And if they had just a couple minutes back in their first game against Spring Hill, they'd be 4-0.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, confidence shouldn't be an issue for this bunch. You know, we talked to Brian Coleman coming into this season. This team, this program has some expectations after going 4-6 last year, and coming out here on Friday night, they're looking to make a statement.
I've spoken to both coaches already today and a couple of the players, and I can tell you, Maurice, that this has got to be the most politically correct group of individuals when it comes to high school football you could ever imagine. I mean, nothing. It's been cliche.
Both sides?
Oh, yes, cliche city. Both very complimentary of the other. Nobody's saying a word.
Yeah, you're getting no bulletin board anything from anybody, huh?
No. They figured this out.
Which makes it awfully boring for us.
Yeah, but I think that's going to make for a great ball game come Friday night.
I think you're right. I think again, Summit's playing awfully well right now. Independence coming off of a big win over at Smyrna last Friday night in a game that really I thought was going to be a much better ball game than it was, but I didn't expect Smyrna.
21-14, it sounded like
21-7,
but
but Smyrna turned it over 7 times. So, I mean, you know, now Indy created some of that. I don't want to take anything away from the defending 5A state champions, but Smyrna was a team that I think is going to be a factor in Region 2-6A, and I think it's pretty well accepted that had a chance to be the toughest game Independence was going to play this year. And they went over there and they just took care of business much more decisively than the 21-7 score indicates, I think. But they're playing well. Like you said, they've won 19 straight. Summit's playing with a lot of confidence. This could be the best game that there's been in this series to this point.
Oh, without doubt it's going to be. You better get here early, too. They are expecting a standing room only crowd, and there's no reason not to believe that. All at Thompson Station and all of Spring Hill probably are going to be here on Friday night. Now, the other big game on the north side of the county, and hopefully this will keep the county in balance, with everybody at the two places. Franklin travels over to old rival Ravenwood. The Rebels coming off of a nice win again. Ravenwood, 2-2 now, and defending 6A champs, and they're trying to find some rhythm.
Yeah, and talked to Donnie Webb over the weekend, and he made an interesting point. We're coming out of a game against a team that our seniors have not lost to. They went to 4-0 with their big win over Brentwood, and they are getting ready to face a team that their seniors have never beaten. So we know what the focus is. We know what the motivation is going to be for the Rebels coming into this one. And past that, they've got a chance to get to 3-0 in region play.
Exactly. That's the big thing. This one is a Region 3 6A contest, and if you can get to 3-0, boy, you've really kind of started to set the table for later on.
Especially with a couple of those on the road.
Yes.
So they've already beaten Overton on the road. This Ravenwood game is away. They've still got some folks that have to come to them before the year is over with. So that would really put them in a pretty good spot if they can get this one.
And this really starts the region run for everybody, if you think about it. From this point forward, almost everything in all 8 of the regions inside Williamson County, still can't believe I'm saying that, but all 8 of the regions from here on, it's pretty much regional contests.
Yeah, and so this is when it all starts to mean something. We've made comments about a loss doesn't necessarily hurt you at this point because it doesn't keep you from any goals that you've set for yourself and that kind of thing. But at this point, everything starts to count, like you said. So this is going to be a big one for both these teams. Ravenwood also looking to.
Yeah. They got to get on track.
Yeah, they got to get on track. They won a big one over at Mount Juliet a couple of weeks ago, and so they're trying to get some things going in the right direction as well. So this is a big ball game, like you said, up on the north end of the county.
Also, not far from there, Division II gets underway with Baylor undefeated coming to a once-beaten Brentwood Academy team, and this is when it starts to count for Division II and for the AA portion of that. What happens here? Folks are kind of looking at Baylor as maybe being a challenge to BA. I'm not sure I see that.
Well, right now they're ranked number 1 in the state in the Division II poll, in the Associated Press Division II poll. They're undefeated at 4-0, and I think, and I can say this because I'm not a voter, I think folks are maybe paying a little bit more attention to records and not necessarily paying attention to teams. Brentwood Academy is 3-1. Their one loss is to a nationally recognized team, Louisville Trinity, who won their 23rd Kentucky State Championship last year. So, all wins and all losses aren't created equal, I don't think. I don't know that this is a Baylor shoe-in victory here by any stretch of the imagination. Baylor's ranked ahead of Brentwood Academy. Brentwood Academy is a defending Division II AA state champion, and they're still that until somebody beats them.
Brentwood Academy facing their 5th game and only their 2nd opponent from inside the state of Tennessee. Boy, what a schedule.
Well, victim of your own success, maybe?
Could be.
I mean, it's unfortunate, but that's kind of where they are. I mean, they had to play Olive Branch out of Mississippi to start. They played A-Plus Academy out of Texas this past weekend and handled their business pretty decisively. But yeah, I mean, when you've done what they've done for as long as they've done it, people tend to kind of shy away from you a little bit.
Thursday night brings about our first contest of the week, Maurice. Centennial going to Clarksville. Now, the Cougars were planning on playing Friday like everybody else. They got a call late last week, I think on Friday, and the folks at Clarksville Northeast said, hey, we can't get officials Friday night, so you got to come up here and play Thursday night.
That's, I would say it's unique, but it's really not. This isn't the first time that I've heard about this. It's kind of something that's going on around Middle Tennessee. A couple of weeks ago, I heard that some officiating associations had reached out to some schools and asked them if they would consider playing on Thursday nights because of a officiating shortage.
Yeah.
And so I guess Clarksville Northeast got caught up in that. We have games played on Thursday nights from time to time, so I'm not sure how.
Typically, it's a holiday. There's a day off the next day. School's out the next day. Not where these kids have got to go all the way to Clarksville, past 6 or 8 schools in Nashville they probably ought to be playing, as I editorialized, to go to Clarksville.
Ron Crawford thanks you.
Well, he's right. Sorry, he's right. But you got to go all the way to Clarksville, come back. By the time you fight the traffic to get there in the afternoon, these kids are going to be midnight, hopefully, getting to their homes, and then they've got to be at school the next morning at 7:30.
Okay, now how much sleep do you think the average high schooler will have missed getting home at midnight on Thursday night?
Not an issue of how much sleep they've missed. It's how good that rest has been.
Okay.
There's a big, well, the other half is they'll get home at midnight, but if it's like most of these kids, and I think they are, like we were, you got all pumped up, you got home at midnight, you probably went to sleep about 2.
Yeah, you're right. I'm just kind of playing devil's advocate a little bit, but yeah, I see your point.
Get away from me, Satan. Fact of the matter is, they're passing schools they ought to be playing.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll get that taken care of here in the next reclassification period, but that's another story for another day.
Anyway, Centennial is having to go to Clarksville on Thursday night.
The number 5 ranked Cougars in this week's Associated Press Class 5A poll. So congratulations to first-year coach Matt Kreisky and the Cougars. They're a little bit of a surprise, I dare say.
I think you're probably right. And more so because you can't point at any one. There's not one player on that team. That is a team.
Yeah, they're doing a heck of a job spreading the love around on both sides of the ball. There's no one big-time stud as we've seen on that team the last couple of years. So, yeah, they're strength in numbers over there on Mallory Lane.
Back to Friday night, Brentwood's got to make that long drive over to Dixon County. I say long drive, it's nothing compared to going to Clarksville. But the Bruins.
Let it go.
Yeah, the Bruins trying to come back from what was really a tough loss at Franklin, just because this series, the longest running series in the county, and Maurice, we covered this thing for years where they played 16 times in 8 years, and it was 3 points, 2 points, 1 point.
Overtime,
2-point deals. The score really got away from them last week, and I think Coach Crawford, as he said after the game, he says, we're going back to the drawing board. We're going to go back to the step one.
And I don't think 41-7 would have been bad. Don't let me say that otherwise. But coming on the heels of that 17-14 loss the week before to Rossview is what makes it worse. So all of a sudden, Brentwood's sitting there at 1-3, going up against a Dixon County team that I'm not real sure what you're going to get out of them, because they've got some talent, particularly on the offensive side of the ball. Jacob Murphy, the quarterback, is the son of the first-year coach Randy Murphy over there. Caleb Rosar is a kid who is committed to North Carolina. He's committed as a defensive back, but he gets a lot of play on offense as a receiver. They like to sling it around a lot, and if Brentwood isn't careful, they can find themselves in a tough situation for a third straight week.
Page on the road at Lawrence County. This is a region contest for the Patriots, trying again to recover and move forward.
I thought that Page Forest game last week would be a good one. 21-14 Forest, the final. Page won it by a point the year before. Quietly, that's really a great rivalry out there.
Yes.
And I'm kind of expecting Page to go on the road this week and get things back moving in the right direction. So I wouldn't read too much into that Forest loss, because I think Forest is a team that's going to do some damage in the postseason in Class 2A. But I think Page bounces back here.
Well, for the second week in a row, BGA's got a long trip down I-40. Last week they went to Martin Westview, played at the University of Tennessee at Martin Stadium. They won. Big, exciting game. They had a big time. This week they got to get on the road and go to University School of Jackson, a much different opponent.
Much different opponent, and even a much different opponent from last year. Last year, USJ was coached by Franklin native Mickey Marley.
Yep.
This year, they've got a new guy at the top, Rusty Bradley, who had a lot of success over at Christian Academy in Knoxville, CAK as they call it. And if you know Rusty and what he likes to do, they're going to throw it 40, 45, 50 times, however many plays they run probably. So BGA is going to get tested in the secondary, and if they can get some pressure up front, then it could be a pretty good night for them. If they let their guy sit back there and throw it around, then they could have some issues. But really like the way BGA is playing right now. They're really taking care of their business.
They're on a roll. Team that would like to get on a roll. Grace Christian Academy, the Lions, again, close, no cigar last week. They go to Moore County. Is this the first win for the Lions?
You know, this is not the Moore County that you and I got used to seeing back in the 80s and 90s, which we're showing our age, or I am. But, you know, this Moore County lost to Cornersville last week.
Yeah.
And Cornersville is not very good.
Well,
so
the week before, GCA lost to Cornersville.
so there you go. So you think GCA's got a shot? Going down to Lynchburg is going to be a challenge. I mean, just getting there is a challenge. And then going in there and playing against, again, a team that's got a lot of tradition but isn't necessarily living up to it right now. So this could be a chance for them to pull one off. Yeah, going on the road makes it a little tougher, yeah, but I think they've got a shot here.
And our final game is Fairview versus Open Date. Coach Chris Hughes, I'm sure, going to enjoy his 1 week of rest.
I like the Yellow Jackets' chances in this one.
I do too. Yeah, very good. I like them big come Friday night.
No doubt.
We don't get a week off, though.
Sad but true.
Hey, we're back at it on Friday night. You can catch the action as we post it on Friday night when it's finished. And, of course, just follow us on Twitter, too, at WH Sports, at Mo_. No, Mo. Well, what is it?
Mo Patton _sports. There we go.
Mo Patton _sports. See, Charles Pulliam's behind the scenes. He'll get it right. The heat's gotten me, folks. We're done. For Maurice Patton and Charles Pulliam, I am the severely dehydrating Joe Williams. We'll see you next time on the Williamson Herald. High school football prep extra presented by Moody's Tire and Auto.